Hello everyone, welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is the full market analysis volume 125. Again, just giving you an insight of what we've got up ahead for next week and compare our analysis from last week as well. So without further ado, we're taking a look into gold. So what I was initially looking out for was pretty much just some sort of push lower before this rally to the upside. So we've got a small push to the upside through mid of the week, so 1st of June. And yeah, it had a little bit of a pullback and then it's pushing up. So what I'm going to see is if we can progress higher and higher. If we can start to break above the 1900 level, I think that would be quite key for price to continue pushing higher. But for now, you know, we're still trying to understand if is the market going to potentially kick off higher, or is it still going to push lower. So for now, we're kind of still in a 50-50 kind of perspective for now, but I am thinking that this is a possible scenario where we could push higher. Alternatively, we could be looking at some continuated sells, which will be lower, and that's where, you know, we could start looking for sells when we break the 1760 level. But for now, I'm still kind of waiting for this push move to the upside. Again, we don't know if that's gonna happen. Like, we just have to kind of wait for it to kind of fall together. So let's take a look into EU. So within EU, was pretty much looking out for some sort of push to the upside and then some kind of push lower. So we can see we had a push low here, but we've kind of like recovered. So ultimately, we could expect this scenario again. So we end up pushing higher and then dropping low again. I'm pretty much mapping out this kind of play. So I think I will actually leave this on. So whether or not we start to see price continue pushing lower again, that's just something that we're going to have to wait for. So we might have a 1.08 as the resistance barrier, but ideally I'm looking for price to continue moving lower like this, or have some kind of significant push lower. But yeah, ideally we're going to probably wait for a pullback and then that continued momentum to the upside. So that's what I'm kind of thinking with EU, and it's still kind of kicking in. So 16th of May, we've had this huge move up, which I think is quite significant. So if we have a pullback and then we could continue pushing up higher, that's what I'm kind of thinking so far this week. If we take a look at Nzd Usd, pretty much a similar thing again. I'm probably going to be waiting for some sort of turnover to the upside, so wait for some sort of rejection and then push lower and see if we can get in on some sales. So where was it, 27? So yeah, so we had a push, and then early on in the week we've had that consistent push lower through, well, not consistent, but you know, we had some push to the downside, and then we've kind of recovered through almost towards the NFP week, and then it kind of, you know, basically just did an up and down midline. So no real clear direction, so we'll see what happens next week. But ideally I'm looking for probably those sells before we can start looking into potential bullish moves to the upside, providing we get that momentum and we're seeing that kick in the market. And the same thing we're going to be looking at with the AU, where we're waiting for price to probably come up again, maybe, and then sell off. And then if we can start to head into maybe 0.7 or lower, we could be looking at out for some buys, providing that we get some, you know, again, that momentum kick to the upside. So if we start to take a look now into the Japanese yen, so interestingly enough, I was actually looking out for some sort of pullback, but it never really came towards us. And ideally last week, so the prior week, it was the turning point, and realistically, you know, if you're gonna hold this, that's how big was this move actually. So if you were to able, you know, get involved with this, let's say break here to the upside, that's a good 300 pip move that. So yeah, nice little pullback and then continue move up. So what I'm seeing here now is we could be looking out for a scenario where if we start to break above 1315, we could look at some sells, providing that we, you know, we see that, providing we see any sort of sell movement. And then the other thing is, if we start to see that dip back in, there is a possibility if we don't get that commitment to the downside, we could have a little pullback and then that continued rally up higher. So that's what I'm possibly thinking with with UJ, and we'll see how it's going to look in the other pairs. So with CJ, what I was looking out for was pretty much a turnover to the downside foot, so 103 to respect and hold some sort of resistance, but as you can see, it completely bolted off. So pretty much now I'm going to be looking out for this kind of motive again, where we're looking out for some sells. I think we're probably a bit too late now to look out for some buys, but again, I'm not really gonna hold off from it, providing that, you know, if we get that momentum and that pullback, then I think it could be worth taking a shot, because maybe this week there could be a pullback followed by, you know, the next move to the upside to continue this higher momentum, maybe into 106. So that's a possibility. Looking into EJ, if we just scroll this down, so was probably most likely waiting for some deeper pullback, but nonetheless, you know, completely ran through that, so missed opportunity. But if we start to look for this week's possibilities, I'm probably waiting for some sort of sell motive, and again, I don't think I'll be looking for buys unless we get a short sell-off and then we get that momentum kick back in, if that makes sense. So if I start to see any deep moves to the downside, I'll be kind of wary to take any buys. But yeah, probably there is going to be some sort of continuation play, but we just need to wait and see for that. And finally for AJ, I'm kind of curious to see what can happen with this, because we are coming to that 96 barrier, so it could either take a turnover here, or what I'm possibly thinking is price can make a rally to the upside, break above 96, and then it could possibly break low. So again, we need to wait for that to happen, and then wait, providing that we get some momentum kicking in, that's when I'll be most likely interested to take some trades. But for now, I'm not really too keen, so we just need to kind of wait it off and see what we've got up ahead. So if we take a look out for USD Chef now, so if we take a look into this, what I'm seeing for now is, let's have a look. Yeah, so if we're seeing this one, so what I'm looking out for this is to see if we can have this momentum again. So I think I'm quite happy with the analysis that we did from last week, so I'm just going to kind of move it to the side a little, but we're trying to look for some possibilities towards the upside for a buy. And again, we're going to try and hedge something here, where if we get a buy, we can probably then potentially look for sells within this. But if we start to break above 1.01, so 1.01, if we start to break above here, that's going to be obviously a key bullish momentum. But it's going to be, most likely we're going to aim higher, but we don't know that just yet. So if we start to look out for some, you know, sells midway here, just to be keeping an eye on it, it could continue pushing lower. On the off chance, if we start to see a push up, get the retest and get some buys for the possibility that we can hedge ourselves at 1.01 if we go above. So that's what I'm thinking with that. And finally for USD CAD, again, I'm looking out for some sort of turning point very soon, so I probably will move this a little bit lower, but at some point we could expect some turning points, and trying to see if we can push higher. And again, if we are looking out for, if we do manage to get those buys, you know, tapping in, we could be out, you know, not necessarily saying it's going to come all the way into 1.30, but you know, it could be, you know, 1.28, 1.27, or 1.29 where we get that turnover. But you know, I'm just kind of waiting for price to sell off at some point here, as a possibility, and just being aware of it. And then if that's the case, we could have a very big sell off, well, not very big, but you know, because of this range that we're in from here to here, it's actually quite big. So we've got at least, let's have a look, a 500 pip move. So we just need to kind of see what kind of positions are going to be worthy to hold and look at the overall picture. So that's pretty much that I've got for this week. There was a lot of bank holidays last week, so if you didn't trade, it's not necessarily an issue. But there was actually quite a bit of moves last week, so just going to be aware of what's going to happen this week. And obviously I do hope this video does give you a bit of value and helps you for this week. So that's all I've got for this week, guys. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed. Leave this video a like if you gained any value from this, and obviously guys, we'll see you all next week. So thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you soon.